I'm Precious Chukudi. We begin with the front pages of the papers this morning, starting off with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with Dangote Refinery cuts diesel jet A-1 prices to 940 naira and 980 naira respectively. The writer says a price cut to impact nation's economy, that's coming from MAN. Reduce pressure on foreign exchange, that's coming from CPPE. It's relief to transport operators, and that's coming from Albon. British International School shot over bullying of students, and you can read that on page 12. Mother Professor's last interview, kidnappers, terrorists don't deserve mercy. You can see that on page 13. NFF board delays appointment of Super Eagles coach. You can read that on page 37. And on 31, discuss Hindero, it's time for state police in Nigeria. Stories above, CBN slashes BDC exchange rate to 1,036.3 naira to a dollar. Federal government appoints 17 new charge d'affaires. You can read that on page 8. Okwama Ewu community declares the 17 soldiers killed along Fokado River will ensure Yahaya Bello faces trial no matter what it takes, and that's coming from EFCC chair. We take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with fraud allegations and money laundering. EFCC intensifies manhunt for Bello, detains Sirika, freezes 300 accounts. Blackout cripples business activities in Taraba, Gombe, Adamawa. CBN to sell $60 million to BDCs at 1,021 naira to a dollar amid fresh panic in FX markets. Ganduje summons Aida Tiwa, 15 Guba aspirants over Ondo APC primary outrage. Less than 20% of Nigerians access 12-hour power daily. Federal government probes bullying incidents in British International School, Abuja. Anxiety as Yoha orders quit PDP, court sacks Imo Party chairman. NSIB NACA probes Dana Air runway incident in Lagos. We take a look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation is leading with EFCC arrests Sirika, slams Emefiele with fresh charges. Right, it says anti-graft agency boss speaks on Yahaya Bello, better Edo orders. Government tightens import duty exemption. First Lady turns sword of alternative high schools for girls. My view on state police personnel, says IJ Betokun. Yedioha quits the PDP. Stories above. Ekiti excited over next nod to generate power. Government takes charge. Jimo seeks cancellation as Ododo submits Ondo APC report. Igo Dalo urges issue-based campaign ahead Edo 2024. We take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with EFCC may persecute 300 forex racketeers. Rider says EFCC gets order to freeze 300 accounts. Says one account transacted $15 billion illegally. Naira would have crashed massively if 300 accounts were not frozen, and that's coming from the chairman. Bullying, Abuja school shot victim may sue. Lautech students seek justice after allegedly kill copper. 50,000 schools listed for federal government safe school scheme. Yoruba Nation, Afenifere slams Akintoye Igboho. Stories above. Air Nigeria, Sirika goes on trial for 8 billion naira fraud. Dangote drops the diesel to 940 naira. Station sell 1,400 naira. And lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, $500 million funds. Lokobiri ex-local content boss clash. All right, that's all we can take on the front pages of the papers. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back. If you're just joining me still today in the news on Vanguard Live, I am Precious Chukudi. Joining me to talk about some of the stories on the front pages of the papers this morning is Mr. Gbinro Oladrigbe, Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. It's good to have you join me this morning, sir.
It's a pleasure being with you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, let's delve in, and we're talking about Dangote Refinery, and the refinery has further, slashed the prices of both diesel and aviation fuel to 940 naira and 980 naira per litre respectively to cushion the effects of economic hardship in Nigeria. What's your take?
Well, I think it's a welcome development, and we must equally realize that this is what we have advocated. As long as we don't produce or refine petroleum products internally, Nigeria, we will be in their strait, and that is where we have been until this refinery came on board. But the fact of it is that if we continue, or if the company continue in this trajectory, of course the prices of various items coming from there, whether petrol, PSM, whether diesel, whether kerosene, if they eventually produce all those ones, will come down. And that is the advantage of local production. The economy will be built. It will impact on aviation. The cost of travels will go down. And I am equally sure when the time for their production of PSM come up, that is petrol, is going to go down. And this will substantially impact on items, particularly basic items, that we produce, that we eat. So it's going to impact on transportation costs. It's going to impact on cost of production, even for other areas in the economy, whether it's aviation, whether it's industries and everything, because they make use of this. So the cost of production, and then it will plague Nigeria on a very sound competitive scale with other economies. So it's a welcome development.
All right.
It's a welcome.
So there seems to be a lot of optimism, with the Dangote Refinery. But what the government can, ensure a sustainable industry and encourage investors in the critical sector of the economy?
Well, this is one of the things that I say. The most critical consideration for any investor, whether foreign or local. If I invest in this economy, will I be able to make profit? That means clearly the cost benefit analysis will be done. What is the cost of production? And what will be the benefit of my output? So it's about doing cost benefit analysis for any investor that is coming into Nigeria. But then it's not going to depend on Dangote Refinery alone, or it's going to look at its market. That is, if Nigeria continue to become to be impoverished, that is not a good sign for investors, because he knows that the environment where people are being impoverished, where people get poor, there will be social consequences for poverty or for impoverization of people. And social consequences may come in form of crisis, conflict, violence, even including violent extremism that are included, and are areas that investors will begin to look at. So we must make sure that we frontally engage all these intertwined problems that combine together in diverse permutation to frustrate our capacity for production. So government should not just go realize that on as that Dangote Refinery is working. But Dangote Refinery must work. As you are doing this, take a look and a reflection on the existential problem we are facing. Insecurity is a major consideration for any serious investor in any economy. As long as you don't secure our country, make people secure and make them safe within the boundaries of Nigeria, you are demotivating potential investors. So government should look at all problems that are ravaging us as a people and as a nation. Poverty must be exterminated. As a matter of fact, the constitutional provision for extermination of poverty put it in this way, under the directive that is the responsibility of government to abolish corruption. Abolishing corruption means that you are creating equal opportunities for people. People have equal access to opportunities. And as long as you have that, we are going to, within short time, we will have a prosperous nation. Not a country where people will be stealing, paying near billions of dollars for for children that are still in the womb to enjoy in schools. So we are not looking at that type of economy. We are not like these are enablers of our crisis. These are enablers of things that set Nigeria backward and make us as if we are still in Stone Age.
All right, moving on, let's touch on this one. Now, the management of Lead British International School in Abuja, has shut down the school for 3 days over reported cases of bullying. As a parent, how do we address the issue of bullying within the school community?
One, wrong move has been made. You can't say because you have an incident of bullying, because you have not tracked such incidents, it wasn't a trend. Trend has not been established. And that is why we apply, what do they call pano, firefighting measure to all our problems. And we don't get anywhere with that. Do they know the consequence of shutting down a school because an incident has been reported? Incident that is not fatal in nation, even though is unaccepted and unacceptable. So you don't go ahead and killing because you want to cure your headache, you cut the head. That is injustice to other students that have been maintaining order, that have been keeping to rules and regulation of the school, that have been observing decency in that school. You have affected them. You don't want that approach is wrong. I condemn it into county. But then the student that has performed that act of bullying other students should be held accountable. You investigate them. The school might have failed. It might not even be the failure of a school. You have individual character that get manifested in schools. If 1 person or 10 person out of 100 students are carrying out a particular subcultural act, which is act of deviance in a school, that doesn't paint the school put the school in bad light.
All right, but Mr. Bello, in a video, one of the students was seen saying that it was a normal occurrence in the school. Bullying was a normal occurrence in the school. Don't you think
it's not sufficient enough? It's not sufficient enough. That's why I'm saying that is how you investigate matters. That is what happens in civilized environment. That's how you get to the root. All these hearsays and everything, they are peer parlor discussion. Once an incident has been reported, the incident must be investigated, because what you are looking for is not only the immediate cause. You are looking at the remote causes of that problem so that it can be holistically resolved. Normally, we are talking now because it happens in a airline school in Abuja here. I know the school personally in Jabi and everything. It's a high profile school. But then, this is what is going on almost across schools, in state schools, in federal government colleges, and I know of it for sure. But it's underplayed. What the minister, why is the minister having enough job to do? I'm talking of Minister of Women's Affairs, rushing, touching there and everything. How is that our problem? Our problem is to work with the ministry, Federal Ministry of Education, to put in place policy that we address issue of bullies across Nigeria, and not an incident happen you rush here and everything. That is a showmanship, and it's not how to solve problem. And a minister should focus on severe, implementable, and good policy that will cage that manifestation among our young people, that is bullying of people. And as a matter of fact, this bullying that you are seeing in school today, where do the children actually get it from? If not from the high caliber in society who bully the poor. Making life miserable for the poor is a sort of bullying. And these children accept it as the normal thing, as the norm. And that is where their father will bully the mother will bully the one that she can bully. We are in a society that is engulfed with attitude of, do you know who I am? Is that not bullying? And it's pervasive in our society. It's not only in that school. We are talking of it because it happens to happen in a light environment today, and everybody is shouting. Do you know what is going on in Ikorodu government school? Do you know what is going on in Ushafa primary school? Do you know what is going? So there must be comprehensive national policy, and if you don't want to make it national, all the states, including the federal government, the federal capital territory, must put in place that policy and implement it. Not that an incident will happen, everybody will be shouting as if it's not pervasive in society. It's not an isolated case. That is what I'm saying. It's bad, but it is happening to the children of the poor in their schools, poor bullying the poor, adults bullying the children. Do you know how many, what do you call raping of children and underage people that is pervasive in Nigeria, across Nigerian society today? That is bullying. That is crime. So we must look at a way of stopping it without injuring other people's rights. What closure of that school is blatantly illegal, is unfortunate, it's not a way of solving problem, because you are taking away the right of other children to education. More that they have paid for receiving such education. So there are ways, categories of dealing with issues. We must be decent in our approach. We must be strategic. We must be seen to be doing the right thing so that we can holistically solve problems like that of bullying.
All right, Mr. Bello. So how then do you think that schools in itself can take proactive stance against bullying?
Number one, we must start from the psychological perspective of the character of a bully. It might not be the wish of the person to bully somebody. You need to, that's why I'm saying from the psychological perspective, you need to investigate each student. That's why you need counselor, guidance in school. These are children who come from home. Some of them maladjusted home that parents are not together. In fact, some of them are, you may see them as children of the rich. But there are critical issues that are not being addressed from home, that have thrown the child off balance psychologically, and is venting, or she's venting that anger on another person. So you have to investigate that. In fact, it is not only the bully, the victim of bully that needs help. Even the bully needs help, because it might be as a result of a psychological dislocation that is making the bully to act in a deviant way and in a dangerous way he or she is acting. And so you have to look at that, and you have to rearrange our society. You talk of militarization. Everybody in this society is becoming a bully. Whether you are a petrol attendant, when there is scarcity, you bully even your customer. But we don't see it as bully. At times we tag bully as insult. Husbands bullying their wives, and we have seen it, some have resorted to death. Wife bullying the husband, bullying their children, or those that they have responsibility to take care of. And of course, you see it in places of works. So we have to look society, and then that is where you have to put in place laws and policy. That a society must be governed by law, and it must be ruled by policies. And these policies and laws are not human beings. They need human beings to implement them, and we must be committed to implementing them when we put them in place, rather than having assuming that the incidents happen in Kotangora yesterday or Abia, with the Minister of Women's stayed there, go there. Even our presence there is a failure of governance. These are problems that can be addressed after calling them off. The parents of those two children. In fact, it's because why I'm annoyed with that school is that the school, one, did not immediately intervene until the thing got to the social media. There are certain things you don't cover as an institution under law, registered under law of Nigeria. Bullying is a very serious issue of maladjustment that should not be tolerated in school environment. But then some of us have gone through it, but we didn't see it as bullying those days. When you have junior and senior in school, flogging you in the middle of night because you refuse to wash his plate, all those type of things. But times have changed. Then we must see how do we manage it. What should be for example, children can be attached to one another, senior, junior, so that they can support themselves. And they know that even your junior can help you in future. When you pass these true messages to children, they will know the value of building relationship and not oppressive one. Mutual beneficial relationship can be built among these children if we take them serious. Somebody was saying that in fact it's even wrong for the mother or sister of that boy girl to get there to the school yesterday and start slapping the other one. What is that if not bullying? So it's a society that is invested with bullies. When you get there without investigation has not been done and everything, because you had and all those things, you start slapping the other one again.
All right, Miss.
A nice for a nice. You create a society where everybody is blind and we continue to live in darkness.
All right, moving on. The EFCC has insisted that the anti-graft agency will do everything humanly possible to bring Yahaya Bello to account for his tenure in office. I mean, we've been hearing the Yahaya Bello saga since last week and up till yesterday when the EFCC chairman granted an interview and was granting a press statement and all of that. So what can you make of this whole situation?
I look at some people gather themselves together protesting arrest of Yahaya Bello and calling themselves activists. These are wicked Nigerians. Terrible Nigeria, enabling iniquity, enabling corruption in our society. What are they talking about? I remember in 2017, on International Peace Day, I led the peace the crowd to the governor's office in Kogi State. And I specifically know, I can still quote myself. I told the government, he wasn't around that his deputy and the chief of staff was there to receive us that day. I openly, with a lot of thousands of people who gathered together, and I told them that any society that shut the door, the gate of school, inevitably open that of violence. Why did I say that? Yahaya Bello at that particular time, there was strike in Kogi State for over a year when children were not going to school. And what is the cause? No pay for the teachers and everything. And this character has stolen billion. Do they know anything about human rights? What happened to the human rights of those children who are denied access to education? Up till now, some of them have not recovered. And he didn't give a good. And he was paying several millions of naira for his own child's education. Do you know the translation of somebody? That is one aspect, one infinitesimal aspect. Paying $720,000, which translates to almost $1 billion naira for your own child or children. Why other people's children cannot access school? Do you know how many schools in Kogi that have been captured on social media where children are sitting on the floor? Yahaya Bello has demonstrated or what he epitomizes what wickedness represents, and he must first try it. It's not only him alone. And I've said it and I've written about it. It's only Nigeria where you see governors being addressed as excellency. Excellency for what? Everywhere is Mr. Governor. There is nothing. It's only that is attitude of people who live in slave camp. You don't call your governor is supposed to be your servant excellence for what now? The only person that is reserved for in a country, and they don't call it is the president. And then you can't see any other person addressing president elsewhere. They will say Mr. President, not this patronizing His Excellency and everything. And I've said it. I'm saying it because it is imperial in nature and it's not constitutional.
All right, sir.
And these are the imperial, how we continue to massage the egos of rulers in Nigeria to begin to oppress us almost unchallenged and give no room for you to question, to call them to account for their action. Yahaya Bello must account for his action because his action has despicably affected the people he has right to govern over for 8 years. Kogi is a very poor country, a poor state, and very, very backward indeed.
All right, so some people have said that it looks like it's a personal witch hunt on Yahaya Bello from the EFCC chairman. You know, when he made the statement of if Yahaya Bello is unable to face trial, he would rather resign. What do you make of that?
Look, what is personal about it? I am 100% with EFCC chairman. I didn't like him before because I've taken him up on Beta. Though he explained part of it, I've written about him, how I didn't like what he was doing, that he was doing it. But if he has started, we should support him. We should strengthen the arm of EFCC. And my fear is Nigerian court. Nigerian court has continued to support these corrupt people through adjournment. Why should they ask Yahaya Bello? Why should they should not have granted him that injunction? For EFCC not to perform its function, where do you have court behaving like that? A criminal is supposed to be arrested. You are saying that they shouldn't arrest him. I know why this is happening is that if you look at the structural dysfunction in Nigeria today, where you have governors making their wives and children judges, and judges, corrupt one, making their own children judges. So what type of justice are you going to hope for in that type of society? If not for the protest, at the end of Yahaya Bello's administration, do you know that this character recommended his wife to become judge in High Court? Yahaya Bello recommending his wife to become judge in High Court. So this is how we roll in country, and we end up destroying this country. I'm afraid of Nigerian judiciary, and there's no apology about that. We should join hands together and solve this problem and stop this useless injunction. If somebody, what do you mean by human right for somebody that have denied access to education, access to good health, access to welfare? In that process, many people died because of their corrupt tendency and activities. And you are there talking about human rights. Whose human right? And you are abandoning and leaving the substantive case. The real issue, the substance matter, and you are pursuing subsidiaries. Is that how a country develops? As we are talking today, Trump, former president of America, is facing trial in America. He attends court because he knows the consequences of not attending. We joke too much here as if we are just here to play. And that is where, so I commend the EFCC chairman, and of course I support the EFCC 100% on what they are doing. Not to bet, they should extend the tentacle. I'm equally happy that Sirika has been invited or arrested or detained or whichever. Nigeria must pay for their own crime. Anyone that commits financial crime, that commits economic crime, must be brought to book. And that is the minimum the chairman can do to Nigeria. And I'm happy that he avowed yesterday that he's ready to leave his position. And that is a comment of an honorable person. Not that you keep job. After keeping your job, so what? You don't need to be on any job for donkey of years. I don't need, personally, I've walked out of jobs myself. If you don't like it, I don't like what they are doing, and I try to correct, and it's not possible, I move out, even without a scintilla of where I am going. I've walked out of job. In into unemployment before. So what is special about people keeping their job and you say that you don't want to do the right thing for your country and for people and for humanity?
All right.
So nothing should impede the commitment of EFCC chairman to bring one to justice, okay? So that he can do a very good job for the country.
All right, let's take a look at Mr. and Mrs. before we go. This is actually from Mrs. Mrs. says, I don't need to monitor you, but there are a lot of dangers in having affairs with loose women. And Mr. responds and says, thanks for your concern. I will retweet.
Well, you better retreat so that it doesn't affect the family. It has economic consequences, it has biological consequences, it has medical consequences. And when you weigh yourself down with that, you might be doomed, and it's going to backfire on the wife and the children, and of course their careers and their future. The lecturer has just been exposed in UNN, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, who was on the way to have affair with the married woman because he's a lecturer and the other one is a student. That is unacceptable. So it shouldn't be what you consider before you accept. It's in the interest of Mr. and of course it's in the interest of the family too.
All right, thank you so much.
Well done, Mr. for accepting and for repenting.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Gbero Lajigbe, Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. Thank you for sharing your thought with us this morning.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Also, remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. To find up-to-date stories, go to our website, www.vanguardindia.com, to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi. Thank you.